And this is where we start our evening in with Mr. Paul Weller, who's joined us tonight.
Oh, yeah.
How is life?
Yeah, it was good, thank you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Done Christmas shopping yet?
No.
Okay.
It'll be the week before Christmas as always.
But that's quite stressful.
Yeah, it normally is, but I just run around for, a whole day and just get wherever I can.
Just in one day, that's
Yeah.
very impressive.
Because I never know what to get anyone anyway, so I just have to,
You wouldn't be doing it all online, surely, like getting organised.
Yeah, but I don't know what to get, so it's better for me to go and have a look. And
Okay, those impulse purchases. You've got a lot to get for as well.
Yeah.
Big families, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. How's this year been for you? As you look back as, we're in December now.
It's been amazing this year, a good reaction to the album. Live gigs have been incredible this year. We just come back from the States recently. The band has got to another level, I think, of playing. Just really inspiring, really, to be playing still. It still inspires me.
Is this the way you thought the year was going to go? Because when you're putting out a new album, you have no idea, do you?
I never know, who knows, but every year sort of merges into the next for me these days as well. So it feels like a continuation a lot of the time. But I'm always looking for the great bits, and we've had a few of those this year, so that kind of keeps me going, really keeps me going forwards.
Okay, let's play a track, first track. You're going to be here with us for the rest of the show. So we've got some new songs that you love, some old songs that you love. Let's play The Avalanches next. Just tell me when you heard this and what you love about it.
I heard it, I think I heard it online, but just a great track. It's got a kind of, I couldn't tell what's sampled and what's played. And I don't know if it's a woman or a little kid singing it, I'm not sure.
Just sounds good.
But it's a funky record, yeah.
The Avalanches on Radio 2, and the track is called Because I'm Me, and that's the choice of Paul Weller, who we're doing an evening in with tonight. Tell us about the album, which is called A Kind Revolution, and the title track, really, or the title of the album, and why you called it that.
Well, the title comes from one of the lines in a song called The Cranes Are Back, which is like a song of hope, I suppose, really. But I thought the title was suited. It's not any kind of thematic or conceptual thing on the album, but I thought it sort of suited the mood of the record. And that was that of a revolution of consciousness and one of compassion and love instead of, guns and blood and bullets. So I guess it's a statement of some kind. But it just felt right, really, for the record and the times.
Yeah. Kindness seems to, that word has been cropping up more and more of recent times. And the world that we live in at the moment, it's so volatile and it's so scary. And
it's a world of extremes.
It really is, yeah. So the message would be, or the hopeful message would be to not be so angry.
I just think we live in extreme times, don't we? In whatever it may be, whether it's war or so-called terrorism or TV, film, whatever it may be. I think it's right across the board, really. We forget as well because we're bombarded by the media, but there's also so many people out there who don't want that as well, are looking for something else, And I think you have to hang on to that belief that, the majority of people are good people and have got kindness and compassion and love. And they're the things to hang on to, really. There's probably less than 10% of people that are against that.
So do you feel...
We are many, they are few,
Do you feel hopeful? Do you think that...
Yeah, I have to be. I'm naturally optimistic anyway. I try to be, but I think we have to be, really. I think you have to be optimistic and think the world's going to improve. If we look at it historically, it's probably unlikely, but I hang on to that notion that it's possible.
And when you have children yourself, as you do, it's very difficult to explain things to them, isn't it? And to give them a positive future.
Sort of telling your kids, the world's had it and we haven't got along, or that's no use to them. And we all would hope that we bring our kids up to be better people and to change the world possibly for the better as well,
How does it contrast with the world that you grew up in when you were young, when you were a teenager?
It's a totally different world, really. It was a simpler time, but there was less to be had at that time, really. There was still the days, which isn't that long ago, but it was days when you literally could leave your front door, your back door open, and you'd never get robbed because there was nothing to rob, and we weren't bombarded by, technology and flat screen TVs and mobile phones. So I suppose in some ways, you had less options, really, and we made our own enjoyment in a sense, Sounds really cliche. It's probably what our parents said about us.
Yeah.
But it was true, I think, and I think there was less things to define you, but I think music definitely had a more defining effect on my generation, our generation, or my generation. You're far younger than me, but
I'm not that much younger than you.
I felt there was a more sense of an identity anyway, and I think through our music and music culture.
How old were you when you left school?
Just when I turned 16.
And did you go straight into music? Is that what happened?
When I was 14, I was playing gigs. I played like pubs or working men's clubs and social clubs and stuff like that in our area. So once I started doing that, and once I got into music, I didn't really care for anything else, you know. I didn't like school anyway. There was nothing else that interested me. And whether I was going to be successful or not successful, I would have still done music. You know, people will often say to me, well, what would you have done if you hadn't have made it? Well, I'd still be in Woking playing pubs and clubs, I suppose, you know.
And you would have been happy? Because you just want to play.
I just wanted to play, yeah. And I'd made, at 16, I was making like maybe 15, 20 quid on a weekend, which when you're 15, 16 is all right, you know, especially back in 1972 or 3 or something.
Yeah, right, let's play another track of yours. And you've chosen The Charlatans and Spinning Out. Tell us why this.
Well, it's a bit of nepotism, really, but it's because me and Tim wrote this song together. I sent him a backing track and he came up with the song and the melody and the words. And I wasn't sure what he was going to do with it, you know, but then he wanted to use it for the new Charlie's album, and I was really pleased that he used it for that.
All right, we'll play it. This is called Spinning Out. Spinning Out from The Charlatans, written by Paul Weller. That's beautiful, really beautiful.
Well, me and Tim
you and Tim together, yes, yeah. And that's their new single, apparently,
right.
Which you just said you didn't even know.
I didn't know that, yeah.
Music industry is a funny old place at the moment, isn't it? Or just being in music.
Tell you what's what. I have no idea. Is it upside down? Is it side? I have no idea what it's doing.
But that must be great for you, like quite liberating that it doesn't actually. Well, it kind of doesn't matter. You know, you've earned the position that you're in right now.
Well, I'm certainly glad that I've come through the time I did, and I really feel for bands or anyone trying to start out now. Because it's tougher, I think. It's tougher now than ever, I think. And who knows where, you know, I mean, it's not going to go back to where it was. It's just the way it is, and you have to accept it. And
try and second guess what on earth is going to happen next.
Well, I think you just got to do what you feel and what you think is right, and hope for the best. You know, you put it out into the world, and then whatever happens, happens. And
what do you think's wrong? What are the problems with being a musician now, and the way it all works?
People not paying for your music. That's a big problem, I think. And I think it's really disgraceful because I can't think of any line of work or art where you don't pay for it.
But people just don't seem to understand that, do they?
Hasn't it been sort of marketed to people that way, wasn't it? I mean, that's kind of good side is that you can get your music wherever you want and you don't have to carry around these great big bundles of CDs or vinyl. But for the artist, it's rubbish, you know. I mean, 0.0 of nothing, really. I don't know, you're supposed to try and make a living, you know. It's okay for someone like me who's got a back catalogue. But for a young band, I mean, they're still struggling, you know.
I guess getting out on the road, doing gigs, but even that's not that easy.
Well, you know, yeah, but, you know, I've got friends who are in sort of club level bands, I mean, and they earn the same money I was earning 40 years ago. And some of them don't even earn that. Some have to pay to play at some venues. I mean, what's that about?
The artist we're going to play next she's a very impressive individual. This is Lucy Rose, and she's been on tour with you. Have you seen the film that she did where she took off on her travel?
Not yet. No, I want to see it though.
Yeah, it's really good.
If I can find out how you can get to see it,
you can Google it and it will come up, and I'll tell you, or I'll show you a little bit while we play it. But she's impressive because she's had that experience of having a record label, and you know, just how very hard it is to keep putting out records. And so she just kind of took herself out on the road and played in people's living rooms in South America and all around the world.
Amazing, India, all sorts of places. But she was fantastic. She did the American tour with us. I just love her voice. I really connect with her voice, and I'm trying to talk her into singing on my next record.
I think you have to talk her into it. Is she resisting at the moment?
No, it's just that she's quite reluctant or a bit shy, maybe. But
is she not answering your calls or your emails?
She is. Yeah, she's coming down in a couple of weeks' time to sing on it.
Maybe she's nervous. I'd imagine she'd be nervous.
She's a little bit nervous, but we would sort of, she's so amazing, I think, and she was really holding the audience, you know, to see her live. But I think her secret weapon's her voice.
Absolutely. So this track is called. Have you chosen this song for any reason in particular?
Well, no, I loved all the record. The last record, Somebody's Changing, is the name of the record that came out this year. But I really love this tune.
Okay, this is Lucy Rose, and is this called Home? Is this called Home? Is Lucy Rose from the album Something's Changing, and Lucy supported Paul on his North American tour. It's Paul Weller who we're doing an evening in with at the moment. What music was going on in your house when you grew up? Then, what was your family soundtrack?
Very early on, my first memories will be like rock and roll, like Little Richard, Chuck Berry, a lot of Elvis. Nat King Cole, and then I guess after that the Beatles really.
And was it a noisy house? Was there always a lot of music happening, or was it quite reserved?
Always, yeah. The radio was always on, or we had a radiogram, which was like a sort of long piece of furniture.
Beautiful though.
Yeah, and a good sound as well, really nice bassy sound.
Lots of vinyl.
Not lots, because they were really expensive. They were a luxury item back in the day, unlike they are now.
Yeah.
So probably more singles than albums, And then I'd sort of borrow singles from the neighbour across the road, and do you know what I mean? There was those things you sort of share the records, and at school as well. Someone would buy an album and you'd borrow it, and it would go around the whole class.
It's almost inconceivable now, isn't it? That idea that it was just this one bit of vinyl that you physically passed on to someone. And
yeah, but I suppose in a way
lovely.
that's easy because just file share.
Yeah, I guess.
But there was something magical about that, because they become almost like a sort of bit of a holy grail. I can't have this. I've got to get this record. And whether it took months or weeks, whatever, to save up for it, and then you finally got it, it just become even more special, I think.
Yeah.
And just play it over and over and over and over again, just until you soaked it all in and knew the words and the whole thing,
Yeah. So what did you start playing along to? Was that the rock and roll stuff, or was it the Beatles?
Both, really. By the time I was like sort of 13, me and my old mate Steve Brooks, we got the band together. We'd play rock and roll and Beatles, mainly because they were easy to play. Your
first guitar, was it guitar? Was that the first instrument that you had?
Yeah. My dad bought me one when I was about 12. I don't even know what it was. He just bought it home for me, and I didn't even know about amplifiers. It was just an electric guitar, but obviously I had nothing to plug it into. I wouldn't even know what that was. And it sort of gathered dust for a little bit, and then all of a sudden I started to learn. And I had a few guitar lessons, which were kind of all right. And then once I met Steve, and we both had a passion for it, and we just kind of learnt off each other, we just listened to music and try and copy that. And we also tried to write our own songs as well. That was always the intention, really.
What about the record shops that you used to go to, the very first one? Was there one particular one?
There was 2 record shops in Woking. There was one called Airco's and one called Maxwell's. And there was, in the days when there were still listening booths.
Yeah.
So we'd just go there after school and spend as long as we could to ask them to play different tunes until they threw us out.
And what role did your dad play at that time in terms of music?
He was a fantastic fella, and he was very... he wasn't in any way musical, not in the slightest, but he was very encouraging. You could see that I was into it, and he just kind of nurtured and encouraged that, And him being the manager, ended up being the manager of the Jam, and my manager for a long, long time, was just because he was so enthusiastic. He'd be the one who sort of hustles some gigs for us, and maybe hustle a van and some equipment and just all those things. He was a bit of a blagger, in the nicest way.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of rolled on from that.
And you trusted him implicitly, because obviously he only has your best interests at heart.
I trusted him, yeah, of course, yeah. I wasn't interested too much in money anyway. I was just happy to play. I was happy to be in a band. What
was the best thing that you ever did for him?
I gave him my love, and I told him I loved him almost every day, and that's the best thing I ever gave him.
That's all he can do. Let's play Richie Havens. Why this song?
I do know the original, Lamont Dozier, and obviously the Odyssey version as well, but I just love Richie's version.
That's really, really great. I've never heard that version before. Yeah, really good. Richie Havens, going back to my roots. Paul Weller is choosing the songs on the show tonight. Let's do your gig diaries, so your memories of gigs that you've done in the past. What do you remember the first gig you played with the Jam?
A talent contest.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which we did in a place called Old Woking, and we won as well.
Well, I'm not surprised, but...
I am. If you'd have heard us at the time, you would be as well. But we won that. That was a big moment for us, winning the Old Woking talent contest.
I'm sure. Do you remember what you won? Did you win any... Was it cash prize?
Cup.
Oh, cup.
No cash was involved, but we won a cup.
Have you kept awards? You must have won a lot of awards in your... yeah, not that one, but...
not that particular one. Yeah, no, I've kept a few. Yeah, there's a lot of them at my studio.
Yeah. Which is the one that means the most? Are there any significant ones?
No.
You don't particularly care? No, not at all, no.
The greatest accolade is when people say, I love this song because, it means this to me, or the ones that really mean something.
Yeah. So, like front covers, do you remember the first Enemy front cover that you did? Was that important?
77, yeah. That was a massive deal for me because I bought the Enemy religiously. It came out on a Thursday in Woking, and I've been buying it for years and years since I can remember. To see our faces on that was a big deal. And then doing Top of the Pops as well. Because again, I'd watched that since I was a little kid.
Who was on when you did it?
Kate Bush, I think.
What song would you?
Heights,
Oh, amazing!
I think anyway.
Tell me about the gig that you played, where there was someone incredible. Again, you're not going to take this seriously. Where there was someone really, really famous in the audience who made you feel a little bit nervous.
Well, we played the Hope and Anchor once to about 5 people, and 2 of which was Glenn Matlock and Mick Jones. I was just pleased they were there. I was pleased anyone was there,
even if there's only 5.
But
did you know them at the time? Were they friends?
No, they weren't friends, but I'd seen both of them play live.
So you went out there and played as hard as you and best as you possibly could.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
The gig that's meant the most to you in your career, so the most significant show that you've played.
San Francisco about 3 weeks ago, to be honest with you.
And why?
Because it felt like it was somewhere else. It felt like we transcended us and the audience. It felt like we were going somewhere, all going somewhere else. It was incredible, and it's hard to pinpoint or articulate those feelings sometimes. But it's just when it elevates and goes beyond just being a good gig to something else, you know.
I thought the performance that you did for Later with Jules at the Albert Hall was outstanding. You were just so wonderful. I thought the whole band looked great.
Great.
How was that for you?
Yeah, I thought it was great. A lot of talented people on that night as well.
Yeah, but you look so much at ease. That's how it seems these days, that you just are so much in command of what you're doing and enjoying what you're doing.
I think that's probably true, you know. I don't know if that's old age or, I don't know, we're doing it an awful long time, I don't know. But I think it's pretty true to say that I get more pleasure out of it these days. I get something different from playing music and something deeper than I used to get.
I read somewhere that you said that you have at the back of your mind this feeling of time running out. As you do, as you get older, you just become aware that every day counts a lot more in everything you do.
Every day's a bonus. Every day I wake up and think, oh, that's good, I'm still alive. And I've learned also to appreciate it as well. I appreciate what I've got, you know.
Which you didn't in the early days, because you don't when you're young.
No, I was too arrogant and stupid or whatever it is when you're younger. So for me to still be able to do that, still play music and people still want to hear it, I kind of think that's really something to be glad about and to appreciate, yeah.
And it urges you on to still make new music, you know, because you're writing for the next album already, you were just saying.
Yeah. We're not too far off it, really.
One of my favourite lines, and I'm going to quote this wrong, I know I am, but I remember hearing this in one of your songs, and it's always stayed with me, and I'm terrible at remembering song lines. I'm only sad in a natural way, and sometimes I enjoy being that way. You don't even recognise what it is. Oh my God. Basically, I always used to get that thing all the time where people would go, cheer up, love, or, you know, smile a bit, because I when I'm not smiling, then I obviously have quite a sad face. But that line just said to me that actually it's okay not to smile and, you know, to be miserable. Sometimes you can do that.
Well, I've had the whole sort of 40 years people saying, oh, you're so miserable, and why don't you smile in photos and all that stuff, you know. But I like to think I smile internally. Yeah,
me too. Let's play Mr. Jukes and Charles Bradley now.
A friend of mine sent it to me via the internet.
And it's great.
It's a wicked record, yeah. It's a sample from a Grant Green, an old Grant Green song. He was a jazz guitarist. And Charles Bradley sadly passed away this year. Just a fabulous voice, you know. Yeah. And I'm glad that at least he got to see some recognition in his lifetime, you know.
Charles Bradley and Mr. Jukes, and it's Paul Weller. We're doing an evening in with Paul. What pleasures make life worth living these days? Obviously, you have the music, which is, you know, always going to be the thing that makes you tick more than anything. Yeah. But outside of music, what do you get up to? You mentioned the gym.
Yeah, I like going to the gym, yeah. I've got a real buzz for that.
What do you get out of it?
Everything. Physical, spiritual, mental, all of it. I love my kids. I love just hanging out with my kids. That's my favourite thing. Yeah. Your entire life must revolve around them. And there are such a variety of ages as well, so you get to enjoy lots of different things. I'm lucky, you know, because I also can go off and write and make music as well. So I do get kind of time to myself, probably unlike my missus. I've enjoyed seeing all their characters, the way they evolve, and individual people turn up, and I think that's wonderful, really, to see that. And I think it's important to be friends with your children. That's the very important thing, and to respect their opinion as well.
Throughout your career, are there any bits of memorabilia that you've kept, or have you ever had got anyone's autograph? And
have I ever?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You're being serious?
Of course, yeah. I managed to get Smokey's signed a record for me. Smokey Robinson was at the Beeb last summer maybe, and my friend who works there said, oh, you got to come up because Smokey's going to be here. So that was a massive thing for me to meet Smokey Robinson, and he signed my record and wrote a really beautiful thing for us.
How was he? What was he like?
Fantastic, yeah, proper man, gentleman. I got the Zombies to sign my album, Odyssey and Oracle. That was a massive thing for me.
Yeah,
but I'm a fan, you know. So
anyone else? Who else?
Ray Davies.
Is he a friend? I would have thought he might have turned out to be a friend.
It's hard to say if he's a friend. I don't know about that.
Okay.
He always speaks to me. He's always very sweet. And but you know, it's a funny situation, you know, because you know it's not like I'm the new boy anymore. I've been here a long time now, and but also there's still part of that fanboy in me that when I sort of meet, whether it's Ray or Paul McCartney, these are people that are my mentors. They're the people who got me into music in the first place, you know. And same thing with Smokey. These are people who taught me how to write a song, in a sense, really.
Do you have any photographs of yourself with anybody that you have on a wall somewhere? Go on, like who?
Me and 3 of the Zombies when they did master tapes at the Maid of Vale Studios a couple of years ago.
So that's pride of place.
There's pride of place on my wall. Absolutely.
All right, let's play another track because we're running out of time. Baxter Jury, tell me why you love him.
Well, I love Baxter's music. I thought, well, all his last records, I thought Happy Suit was fantastic and It's a Pleasure. I thought that was great. He's still not that known, really, which I find surprising, you know, because his music's so... I think it's real cutting-edge music, but the single is my track of the year, Miami. I just think it's just brilliant, and the brilliant poetry.
Yeah, no, I think I'd agree. Here we go. This is Baxter Jury and this is Miami. I think one of the tracks of the year as well, without a doubt. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, Baxter Jury, and that is Miami. Thank you for coming in and doing this.
It's a pleasure.
I was
Thank
so
you for
looking forward
having
to it. It's really kind of you to come in. You seem
very kind to ask me.
No, you seem so contented now, so kind of at peace with yourself, and
yeah, I think I probably am. Yeah,
yeah. As you're spinning those plates and kind of trying to keep it all going.
It should only take me like 50 years or whatever, so it's good.
The next year, how are you feeling about next year? Because you've got the tour coming up in February.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're going to go to Australia and Japan in January, and then we're back, and then we start the UK tour, Irish and UK tour in sort of mid-Feb to finish my album as well, you know, either in whenever time I get
the next one.
Yeah, the next one, yeah. Which I think will come out in sort of September next year, hopefully. Yeah, it's going to be different anyway. It's going to be with like strings and orchestra.
Oh, okay.
Thing really for me is just try and make each record a little bit different, and so it's more kind of sort of the new one's going to be more sort of song based, really, kind of voice and guitar, I suppose. And but with orchestration and some guests as well. Conor O'Brien's written a song with me from Villagers.
Yeah.
And Erlen Cooper from Erland and the Carnival and Magnetic North, he's done a few tunes with me. Lucy Rose is going to come and sing on the track.
Whether she likes it or not.
If she likes it or not, yeah, I'll force her into it.
Oh, this sounds great.
Different, I think, yeah.
Yeah. Final song that we'll play is Lonnie Hill.
This is from the 80s, right? And so there were some good songs in the 80s, you know. I kind of really don't like that decade, you know, but there were some good tunes, especially some good R&B soul tunes out. And this came out on 10 Records at the time, which made some great releases, and they licensed a lot of great American stuff, independent soul stuff. And but it's a beautiful song, and I really love his voice as well.
Okay, we'll play it. Thank you, Paul.
It's a pleasure, thank you.